If it feels like your partner sabotages your success, take a walk with me. This happens more often than you think, and it's so subtle that you may not understand what's happening in the moment. You just know that frustration is building inside of you and you feel exasperated. When you first start a relationship, you develop a habit of being together that's rooted in your schedules. And more often than not, for the first several months, you're both on your best behavior, or at least one of you is. The person on their best behavior is putting on a show. And no, this isn't intentional. This is how they learn to relate to other people. This is who I can be when I'm a good boy or girl and do everything right. And I know you've been on social media long enough to have the 5 signs for this and the 10 signs for that, and you have all the labels you need for this person. And you have to ask yourself, the labels that you assign to other people, are they helpful or unhelpful? As soon as you assign someone a label, you place a limitation over them and on your relationship. It becomes a barrier to true and authentic connection. But when you get curious about who the other person is and you start asking questions about where they came from and what makes you who you are, you begin to understand them a little bit better. And with enough self-awareness, kindness, and empathy, you get to take a different approach. And the person who's on their best behavior just wants to be liked and accepted by the person that lights them up. The real problem is they're not being their most authentic self, physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. And that energy isn't sustainable in the long term, and it'll also cause rejection because it feels draining to other people. On a subconscious level, they know something's not right. So after a few weeks to months of dating, the eyelashes come off, and homeboy destroys your toilet in your studio apartment after a great time together. And you're both forced to look at each other and say, well, I guess we're both human after all. And since you've already been together for several months, you're like, let's just keep going. I don't want to start over. And this is where real life meets your dream life. You start sharing all your goals, dreams, hopes, and desires for the future. One of you is almost finished with grad school. The other has a temporary job, but you've put in a ton of applications and you're just waiting on your dream job to come to you. You've already had several rounds of interviews and you're excited for what's to come. And this is where you realize that your lives have been running parallel to each other and you haven't integrated them. Your plan has always been that once you finish grad school that you'll go on for your doctorate at the school you've always dreamed of going to that is not in the state that you're currently in. And your partner, although they're really excited for you, they don't want to leave the city and go to Missouri. And instead of saying what it is that they actually want, they're going to start hitting you with, you're never around and you're always busy. I thought we would get more time together in the city after you graduated. I thought we would get to travel and have a normal life for a little while. I feel like you don't consider me and that my opinions don't really matter. I love the time that we have together, but it's like you have a whole other life and I'm not a part of it. And the other person's sitting there confused thinking, I've talked about this so many times. This has always been the plan. You remind them of this, and after a little bit of back and forth, they acknowledge that I thought you would change your mind. I thought that if we spent enough time together that you would just go to school here in the city. And now you have a choice. You can leave the state and follow your dream. Stick to your plan. And that plan is pretty spectacular. It's the #1 school. But the school in the city is number 15. But you also understand that life is filled with compromise and sacrifice. So together, you make the decision that you're going to put your education on hold for a year, that you'll travel and spend more time together. And this is often where the curveball comes in because you didn't stick to your plan. You didn't stick to the mission and vision that you laid out for yourself. And of course, they won't say this, but it's most likely what they're thinking. If I can change you that easily, how can I feel safe, secure, and trust you?